Hey, if you saw my last video on Skate 4 versus the Skate Sims, you know I'm super excited for the release of Skate 4. And I'm curious to see what Full Circle and EA are going to do with this game, how they're going to improve upon the perfection that was Skate 3, because that game was freaking amazing. So with that in mind, I came up with this video, which is just a list of a couple of things that I want to see in this game, and some of the things that I've seen you guys saying you want to see in your comments, both on my videos and videos across the internet. So let's get into it. First up, we have a way to change camera sides. And by that I mean, what side of the skater the camera is on. One of the biggest pet peeves I had in Skate 3 was that I couldn't manually change what side of the skater the camera was on. And this was especially bad because I played Skate 3 after having played Session, where you could change the camera side using the D-pad. Which, as a side note, why would you have the buttons that control which side the camera is on be the same buttons that control which mission you're currently tracking? It's kind of silly if you think about it. They did have this provision in Session where the camera would change sides depending on what stance you were in, but I prefer to do it manually using buttons. Speaking of cameras, I'd also love to see a first-person POV camera in the replay editor. Taking us back to Session, if you've ever tried to make a first-person POV clip in Session, you know what a pain in the ass it is to use keyframes to do that, having to put the camera in the skater's head, because there's a lot of room to make mistakes depending on the complexity of the trick or the line that you're trying to film. So I think it'd be cool if in Skate 4 we had a first-person POV camera as, a setting in the replay editor. I don't know how difficult this would be to implement from like a game development perspective. I'm sure someone who knows more about it than me will tell us about it in the comments. Moving on, we have adjustable flick-it controls. And by adjustable, I mean in terms of their sensitivity. This might just be a me thing, but when I was playing Skate 3, this thing would happen where I'd be trying to do a hard flip or an inward heel, but I'd make too large a scoop on the controller and end up doing a 360 hard flip or a 360 inward heel, which isn't what I was going for. So I feel like having the sensitivity be something we can control would really help people like me pull some of these tricks off a little easier. And I strongly suspect that flick-it sensitivity will be a thing in Skate 4, because if you've seen the promotional footage for the game, I'm sure you noticed that some of the flips in that footage were really slow. So I think flick-it sensitivity might be a thing. Flip speed might be like a different setting, like only time will tell. We'll know when the game comes out. But tell me your thoughts. Do you guys want to see flick-it sensitivity controls in the game? Sound off in the comments. Speaking of controls, I'd also love to see a manual catch system implemented in Skate 4, because I feel like having manual catch would add a whole new dimension of difficulty to the game and would make pulling off some of these tricks a bit more rewarding, especially if they have held flips or extended flips, which is the next thing on my list. And by extended flips, I mean, you know how in Skate 3, if you do a kickflip or a heel flip and continue holding the stick in the direction you flipped in, the board would just keep flipping, so you could do like double flips, triple flips, and so on? I wish they could apply that to flip tricks that involve a rotation, like tray flips. That way you could do like 540 flips, 720 flips, so on and so forth. This would be so cool if they have like giant mega ramps. Imagine pulling off a 1080 flip or something. That'd be cool, especially if manual catch factors into your trick somehow. Some people don't like tricks with lots of spins and flips, like a 1080 flip. It sounds insane, but it's a video game. I want to do insane stuff. Speaking of tricks, I'd also love to see more freestyle tricks implemented in Skate 4. I don't know how these would work exactly, but things like Primos and Caspers would be amazing to have in Skate 4. and throw in impossibles while you're at it. I've been trying on stream lately to land clean primos and clean Caspers in session. So if that's something you might want to see, follow me on Twitch. Moving on, we have a way to control griefers. Now, if you don't know what griefing is, in online games, some people, either out of boredom or because they think it's funny, will go out of their way to ruin other players' fun. An example I can think of with this would be in a game like Red Dead Online. Like high-level players will find a low-level player and just kind of mess with them, like tying them up or keep killing them over and over and over again. And I'll admit, it can be kind of funny to see it happen to someone else, but the stuff is only funny until it happens to you, right? In a game like Skate 4, I imagine this would manifest in the form of like people putting weird things in the middle of like handrails to make them unskateable. Stuff like that. So I wish they had a way to make it so that other people's object dropper items don't appear in your game world. And not just the object dropper items, but the players themselves. Because imagine you're trying to film a realistic Skate 4 edit, right? But then there's some guy in the background with a Ninja Turtles costume, It would look weird in your footage. But I will say that having other people's object dropper items in your game world could also be a good thing if they're placed in a way that, enhances the game world. Because I imagine some of you out there got really creative with Skate 3's pack editor, and I imagine you're going to do the same thing in Skate 4. Because it'd be really cool if something that a player put in the game world became like a permanent fixture in the game, that people could just skate and no one ever removed it. I think that'd be nice. And that brings me to the last thing that people want to see, which is an offline mode. Now, we already know that Skate 4 is going to be a free-to-play game and will necessarily require you to always be online to play it. But something tells me that at some point in the future, they're going to sell you an offline mode. Maybe when they plan to close down the servers or something, when all the microtransaction whales have been milked dry. Do you milk a whale? I don't know. When all the microtransaction people have moved on to the next game or they run out of ideas, they're going to sell you an offline mode. And while people are more than willing to pay 60, maybe even $70 for an offline game now, I'm sure people will feel bad about it if an offline mode is sold to them in the future. Because while it makes sense from a business perspective, you want to make the most money, as a consumer, that would kind of suck. So these were just some of the things that I wanted to see in Skate 4. And I'd love to hear your thoughts. Tell me down in the comments stuff that you want to see, stuff you don't want to see in this game. And like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel. There's a little over 300 of you now. Thank you guys so much for the support. And as I said, I stream ever so often on Twitch. So go follow me on there. And follow my socials. Really, right now that's really just TikTok and Blue Sky because my IG got zucked. But hey, we still live, right? This is all I have for you today, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.